So why are we seeing workers push for unionization right now? Joining me is Steve Odland. He is the CEO of the Conference Board. Steve, it's good to have you back. And, on the one hand, it makes sense to me because workers have bargaining power, so they are collectively bargaining. On the other hand, you could say, well, but can't they kind of do this on their own? What do you think is driving this move?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I mean, we're at an historic period of time. We're essentially at full employment. Even with about 2 million workers still out of the workforce versus pre-pandemic, you have worker shortages in virtually every industry. And so even though we have a 7.25 federal minimum wage, it varies by locality, you're seeing the average wage in these retail locations and in warehouse locations quite a bit higher, $15 to $20 an hour. So it is a buyer's environment. They have the power right now. And so you see especially the two examples, Amazon and Starbucks, where predominantly very young people are looking for higher wages, and they're trying for all the leverage that they can get out of this. Now, we're concerned about this at the Conference Board from a wage price spiral standpoint. You also have a 40-year high in inflation, and so people are seeing their real wages go down as they're trying to afford rent increases and food increases, energy increases. So it's all that pressure at the same time that is coming to fore. But, again, you said it's only 6% prevalence from a union standpoint here in the private sector.
Yeah, and as you say, this could be driven by cost of living squeeze, kind of the misery index that we talk about in the sense for that to happen. Is it going to change the big picture trend, which has been towards a smaller and smaller percentage of the country unionized over the years?
Well, I think, look, unions have played a very important historical role in this country, moving towards better safety, higher standards of work and benefits and so forth. But, most of the employers today are pretty enlightened. Even at Amazon, you've got a situation here where they're paying between $16 and $27 an hour. They have full benefits, financial accounting, PTO. They even have career choice where they're trying to bring people in and take unskilled labor and train them to be aircraft mechanics, nurses, and so forth. So there's a whole education element to this. This is not the same situation that it was back in the 30s. So you have a very enlightened, relatively enlightened corporate world today that it is not shareholder-centric. It's a multi-stakeholder world with employees being very, very important part of this thing. So, it's not the same. And, when you put a third party in between, hourly workers and non-hourly workers, it is, more difficult to communicate and drive individual performance. So there are pros and cons here. It's not to be, negative towards unions, but I think that a lot of the things that these people are seeking are happening anyway, just due to market pressures.
You think they might have some unionizers' remorse?
Well, there are some, they're going to have to pay 2 to 5% of their pay in union dues. When you have a union, they're representing all workers. They have to, and so therefore, people who are, a meritocracy kind of goes away. And so people who are high performers don't get the extra bonuses. They don't get the extra promotions and so forth. So it's a seniority system. So there are some pros and cons. It just depends on what kind of environment that they want. But all of this is contributing, I think, to this, to the potential of a wage price spiral, which would be, really a very difficult situation. And, it's something else that the Fed is thinking about. The Fed is trying to react very quickly to the inflation situation. But this whole wages go up, prices go up, and, where does it end? And, Kelly, I think that's the challenge here. Where does it end? Absolutely.
And you're right. Economists, Wall Street, the Fed, they're all watching to see how it pans out. Steve, good to have you. Thanks so much.